it's combining well, right? Like you've got the Venge Arc Warden and the Phoenix Arc Warden, so you can protect the egg in the bubble. On top of what the Mars does for the egg anyway, it's going to be very difficult, even with the snap, to burst that egg down. I do like how Among Us is going here. It's going all in on that Faces Void. Fnatic have to be a bit cautious. I'd say their next ban has to be the Invoker, because Abid will play that Invoker that rushes the Ags. You play with the Cataclysm Chrono, and that is one way to ruin everything. You know, it's just so much damage that flies in. You mentioned the flexibility on the off lane. It's going to be something to watch out for, whatever Cuckoo plays. I'm not sure what I'd prefer here. Like, he does know that it's the Arc Warden matchup. Maybe, it's tricky because Jabs can just play the Tiny, but can also toss Cuckoo. It's so flexible. That's one of the issues when you draft Among Us. It's way too confusing, and they have last pick as well. So Fnatic's gonna have to finish up their draft first. Might make it a bit messy for those last picks.
Could be. Because with the Arc Warden, generally speaking, you're just trying to give as much space and time to the Arc Warden to get farmed up. So Moon's probably going to be on another space-creating kind of mid here. He's not going to want something too greedy. And we'll see the Storm and the Spectre ban, interestingly enough, from Fnatic. So just not sure about that Spectre ban, but I suppose there was an opportunity to take it up against the Arc Warden. Sounds like Among Us are confused themselves, just judging by the voice lines they're using. And, well, there's our final ban. The Conquer now being removed from Among Us. So Fnatic, they want a space-creating kind of mid that fights early. They can play a 4-protect-1 kind of lineup, let Raven farm. What do they want?
Difficult spot. I'd say Moon's Void Spirit would have been great, but it was banned out. Maybe something like a... No, the puck was gone as well, so...
Ooh,
Ember. All right.
Okay. So the Ember will come out for Moon. One of the specials.
Yeah, it can make some space out. Laning phase is now very important for Moon. We've seen him lag behind before, and you don't want to in this game. You really need to be active to get Raven that space. Among Us, they've got options. I mean, that Invoker for Abid's still there. You don't have the Storm, but if you don't want the Invoker, Quap is pretty good here just because you can gap close, and you have further ways of kind of combining with the Chrono, with the Sonic Wave, so you could easily opt for that as well. I would personally still prefer the Invoker. It's just they might be worried about the mid matchup. Maybe the farm timings could be a little greedy there with the off lane here as well. So really depends on what Among Us wants. But that Cataclysm Chrono is still the most potent, so I'd say that's probably your most value pick here.
Okay. We'll see if they do want the Voker. I do like the Invoker here as well, John. I think it could be very valuable. Especially with Savage on the Void, right? Like, he does tend to hit some pretty nice chronos. He's very reliable in that sense.
Yeah, and, you know, you've already got the Ogre Magi with Bloodlust. Why not toss Alacrity on as well, you know, and make it perfectly balanced?
Yeah, that's true. Very, very true, John. They're having a think. They're letting the time tick out. "20 seconds left." You don't usually see the time for the drafts go this low. So both teams seem to be thinking very heavily about these drafts. I'll go down to the 9-second mark now. All right. Oh, okay. So hold on a minute.
Mid snap.
Mid snap or mid ogre is what I think. There could be no. It is white mon ogre. Okay, so mid snap.
Come on. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, mid snap for Ovid.
All right.
Oh boy.
Mid snap it is.
Oh, what is this?
we saw this yesterday from your Page from Neon Esports. He made it work. I'm sure Abed can. It's going to be a very fun start to our series, John. Game 1 of what I like to call the grudge match between Among Us and Fnatic. So these two are not happy.
No.
See who does come out on top, John. Who was left and who was right?
Yeah, that's it. Sorting them out, Mike. Man, there's a message to send from both sides. You know, the funny thing is that all this fallout, I think, really came from the fact that Geek Fam had to release their roster. So this is mainly like a lot of the Geek Fam boys plus Fnatic just getting mixed up, and it just kind of spilled down from there. It's just a runaway effect. So it's funny to see because Cuckoo was in a good mood. He's telling Zephyr, get in our team speak. It's like, get in team speak. It's like, no, that's not how it works, Cuckoo. Those days are gone. But it's so odd because Fnatic, obviously, there's a story behind it, and Geek Fam's all on good terms. So it's an interesting back and forth, and all these, both sides are gonna have something to show with their gameplay, and it should make for a very good time. You've got comfort picks coming out here. Raven's Arc Warden, we've seen that do work before, and he's going to have a lot of weight on his back, lots of pressure to get that working once more. Same thing here for Savage, right? Like, he's on his Faceless Void once more. The Chrono is going to have to be in play, and you can see they're really happy.
They are. A lot of tips coming out from the side of Among Us, just tipping each other for now. Good to see them having a bit of fun at the start of the game. Of course, the odds are up from Loot Bet as well, and you'll see Among Us as the very heavy favorites. $17 to $4.65.
Ooh.
It's, seems like the betting crowd is with Among Us. See if Fnatic can prove them wrong.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure here. Again, not just outside this matchup, but the performance of Fnatic in the groups, I think it's fair to say it's improved. Especially when you compare it to day one, right? Day one was a weird showing. It was still the first time they had AU as well, but they scrapped that roster after a couple of days. Now you have this, and the past few days we've watched Fnatic, Mike. It started to stitch together. Forev on the offlane's pretty darn stable. Zephyr on his support, of course, is also really darn good. On that pause 5, he does buy a lot of space out for Raven, makes that top lane hard to match up with. So I think it's starting to line up. The one thing is we have to watch how they move. It's in the mid game where it feels like the shot calling maybe falls flat, or they just switch to a more passive game, which is easily punishable. Raven. You know what Raven just said? He said he forgot how it feels like to win. Please let me feel it once more. Cuckoo saying, you're coming back? You're coming back? Oh, man. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Mike, I was gonna ask Whitemon what the hell they do with Roche. So I said, hey, Whitemon, can I ask a question? Jab said no. So the boss man said, no, John, you can't ask. I was like, okay.
Wow.
And he told me he was joking, but I never asked the question, Mike. I didn't want to upset Jabs.
I'll ask when we get to the next lobby. Jabs can't say no to me. How dare he?
We'll see, Mike. We'll see.
No, I'm asking. Jabs can't stop me. Whitemon's going to answer this question. Jabs, speaking of, is going to find the Observer Ward in that mid lane, so does establish there is an obs. Should be very, very easily de-warded now from Among Us' side, assuming they can get to that side of the river. Looks like they really want Moon to have a stable laning phase up against Arbet on that Snapfire, and they probably are expecting Jabs to make those rotations on the Tiny to try and gank up Moon early on.
Yeah, and this mid lane matchup, it isn't very clean for an Ember. Like, you're at a range disadvantage, of course. Snap doesn't have the best right-click damage, but its stats spam a Scatter Blast. It is just so devastating, especially while Shield is on such a low level. Moon has to assert that early aggression with his Flame Guard every time it's up to make it harder for Abed to find last hits. Because even if this Snap, we've seen it surprise us in the offlane, it can really do its work if you're not careful.
Nice sneaky obs being placed there by Arbed. We'll see if Moon realized he did turn around for a second to get that off. We'll have a quick look at the top lane where we'll see Zephyr and Raven. They're going to be up against Cuckoo. And of course, we do also have Jabs. He's just pulling the creep wave to try and get his own level 2. We see this quite a lot from pretty much everyone. He'll let one creep go through, but I like the way Jabs does this, because he always tries to let 1 or 2 melee creeps go, so he can deny the whole wave first, and then he can actually get the CS for himself. And it allows him to stop the next wave as well, which really helps Cuckoo out on the Centaur to equalize the lane.
Yeah, and this is what enables Cuckoo that good start. We talk about his timings into his Hood of Defiance, into his Vanguard. It's always on point, and this is why. He exerts his early pressure, his early tankiness, and there's not much this duo can do. Every time they go in to harass him, they take just as much damage as he cops. So, gotta watch out for that. I mean, Zephyr can only do so much on the Venge, but Raven is still finding some decent farm. So you're not going to be super upset about that. You will just really have to track Jab's level 2, level 3 timing. If he gets level 3 at a good point, expect mid to get under some form of pressure there from his rotation.
Well, he's got 2 now, so we might see that very, very soon. Of course, in the bot lane as well, we've got Forever DJ. Gonna be up against Whitemon and 23 Savage. So far for Savage, he is at the top of CS board. No real struggle for him in this bot lane so far. Of course, Whitemon has been frontlining for him, but mid lane, Moon, getting very, very low on that Ember. Does have a bottle up, but Abed not going to let him feel relaxed at all. Going to force those bottle charges early on. Abed has already committed his own as well, so those 4-minute power runes are going to be pretty important.
Definitely. For both heroes, you want to maintain that laning presence. I'd expect
It's almost got Moon. Moon will go for the Sleight of Fist. Abed will leave him on 35 HP.
Ooh, that's a rocky start for Moon. He's forced to walk home, and that's just a lot of time for Abed to get some free last hits here. And it's also really awkward timing. Like, he gets the salve off, but again, we're reaching that 4-minute mark. When you're forced to salve, that's going to delay some key timings, and you start to look at Jabs. I'm pretty sure he's aware of that power rune as well, so expect the Tiny to start securing that power rune very soon.
Well, it looks like he wanted to come up top to see if he can get a toss back to Cuckoo, but Cuckoo doesn't even have the double edge up yet. Does have the hoof stomp, but it probably wouldn't really amount to a kill. So Jab's going to make that rotation. Actually already gets a kind of Roshan ward down, but that's also going to watch the top rune. While that's happening, bot lane, Savage, he did get speared up, but not going to be too big of a deal. And that 4-minute mark, power runes are going to be down at the bot lane. Abed can't get the DD. It will be DJ that secures it on the Phoenix. That is just going to mean the mid lane remains how it is. Neither hero has a full bottle, but Moon is the one struggling a bit more on this Ember.
Yeah, that's still a better time for Abed. I mean, he's not necessarily looking for the farm, although.
Forev, he goes down, 23 Savage, able to get the kill with Whitemon. DJ trying to get some more harass out onto Whitemon, but Savage might try and turn around now. DJ got to be careful, he might get bashed. Savage, can he get lucky? No. DJ going to be able to hold the lane, goes for an Icarus dive with that DD, does get Whitemon, but does go down to the tier 1 tower. I suppose in some way that is worth.
Yeah, it's good for DJ, building up EXP on that Ember. I don't think you mind too much because Savage also soaks some of that in the AoE, and this is one of those lanes where, the Faceless Void can opt to skip early levels in Time Walk. Go for that aggressive play.
Cuckoo also goes down top lane, Zephyr. He was able to pick it up on the Venge. So nice little plays here from Fnatic, currently sitting at a 2 for 2. DJ now. Back into that bot lane, onto Whitemon. You're still going to be a bit concerned here if you are Fnatic, as Savage is farming very well. But I suppose the same argument could be made for Raven right now, who is sitting at 28 and 11 on the Arc Warden. But of course, the Arc Warden will take a lot longer to be influential in this game than, say, the Faceless Void. I wonder if Fnatic is at all concerned about how well Savage is farming.
Yeah, I think they've got to at least start watching that jungle. They've already got one ward to at least watch these smaller forward camps, but they need to watch themselves. Savage, by the time he hits 6, he might look for that early chrono play. Forev, he's still going to hit 5. There's a big level disparity in that lane, and you need levels here for Fnatic, not just for Forev.
Mid lane, Moon, he's just about to hit level 6, but it looks like he might just drop. He's going to try and make a run for it, but Jabs and Abed should have the control. Still bottling up, Moon. One more hit would do it, but no, he bottles up again. There's that Scatter Blast, but the raindrops blocking out so much damage, and now he gets the level 6. And he'll be fine. Meanwhile, top lane Cuckoo, looks like he will go down to Raven.
Ooh, yeah, Fnatic starting to find Some good exchanges here. That pressure mid not quite paying off for Abbott. So, going to be a missed opportunity. The cooldown for Kisses is a bit long. It's going to be a minute until they can get that play going once more, although down bot.
Yeah, Jabs, nice rotation once again. Gets the toss-up onto Forev, and 23 Savage will happily take the kill for himself on the Void. Of course, Jabs very influential on the Tiny when he's just roaming around like this. Can be really hard to keep track of. And surprisingly enough, Savage, I mean, he sees a free lane, he has a siege creep, he'll start forcing in that T1 bot tower.
Yeah, this is a lot earlier than what we tend to see, so Fnatic, they're not in a position to counter push as well, or, you know, get a shove up top. Raven does have his level 6, and the Midas is going to be flying in, but if this objective is chipped away, that does mean the eventual push is going to be faster. So that's something for Fnatic to watch out for. Still, they've got this level 7 mark on Raven. Again, the Midas is about 20 gold off. It's pretty much done. So that's a 7-8 minute Midas here for the Arc Warden. They should be a bit cautious from Among Us. There's a lot of stacks here being taken as well that they have not tracked from that Radiant side.
Well, they have not. Take them all out with the Remnant. Still mid lane, DJ. Gonna get picked off there by Jabs and Arbed, and that'll be the first kill for Arbed on that Snapfire. It's gonna help him finish off what looks to be the drums coming out. He is going for a wand next. So far, so good for Arbed on this mid Snapfire. He really has had a good game. Fnatic, they haven't really paid too much attention to what he's been doing. But as we saw yesterday from Yopaj, this hero can be extremely dangerous if she is allowed to just farm up.
Yeah, there's a smoke here though, Savage.
He's got the Chrono up. He wants to try and make a play, and he wants Moon on the Ember, but no Chrono yet. He was waiting for the Remnant. Moon still trying Savage. He does not get the Chrono out. They'll cookie him away. Bit of hesitation there from Savage. Would have been a nice pickup on the Ember. It is not going to be the case.
It's a massive missed opportunity there for Among Us. Fnatic can be happy. As long as that Chrono is not flying out, they're getting so much more space. Raven doesn't care about any of this. He's using that Midas. He's farming up. He's working towards that Maelstrom. You have to see the Mask of Madness up in Savage. Once that's in, you can really start to make those Chrono plays, but you know, you've got to be able to lock that in soon because you're just kind of wasting time here.
Jabs, surrounded, goes for an avalanche toss onto Forev, with now the Chrono being dropped and the Mortimer's Kisses to fly in, and that should be Forev dead. Jabs still barely surviving, but there's a Remnant in from Moon, but he has no more Remnants left. The cookie comes out, Arbed! He sets up a kill onto the Ember. Oh, and there's the tips. He had no secondary Remnant.
That is a strange decision to jump in like that. He got the kill on Jabs, but you trade the Ember away. You trade your own life for that. It's definitely not worthwhile. Among Us, the patience to get the Chrono off, definitely paying off big time for Savage. That does give them the mid-tier 1 as well. So multiple objectives being taken from that, and they can start to really apply that aggression every time the Chrono's up. It is a longer cooldown. So that's something Fnatic can kind of abuse. Maybe they make their own smoke plays while Chrono's down. They've got the swap. They've got the egg. Arena's not too long for cooldown. They can play it that aggressive as well on their end.
Riku still just farming very nicely on the Centaur. Jabs goes for an avalanche. DJ doesn't have Icarus die for another 3 seconds. Toss is going to be on a creep. Jabs might have to just let DJ go, but the Phoenix is still there, but he'll go for the Sunray TP out. He's gone. So is the T1 top tower, however, but the bot T1 will be pushed in now by Raven, and it looks like there won't be much of a defense to come out from Among Us.
They can't really fight into that without the Chrono. They've got to sit back. It's a tier 1. It's a tier 1 trade. You've still got to step up by taking that mid tier 1. So Among Us is still pretty happy. And the one thing right now for Fnatic is... Oh.
He's going to be alright. Go on, John.
We're just looking for Moon's farm, right? Like, he's going into what seems to be phase boots. We need to see what's next so he's active, but clump up here.
And Forever, he's got that arena up and he will commit it for the Ogre. But here come those kisses once again. They'll be forced to pop the egg, but Forever is taking way too much damage and is going to die. The egg does pop, however. They'll go back onto Jabs. Moon going to remnant in, but now Cuckoo with the Stampede rushing onto that Ember Spirit. They really want his life and they will be able to get it back onto Zephyr. Zephyr also going to go down to 23 Savage, and now DJ trying to Sunray away, but it is going to be no good. They surround, and Savage will be able to get a double kill on the Void.
Oh man, and that was Among Us fighting in without Chrono. They were counter fighting. The execution here from Fnatic not quite lining up. I get that they don't think they need to combine the egg along with Arena too much, but that was a lot of spells committed for a support that took way too long to kill off, and Fnatic, the only saving grace there was that Raven was not around. So he's still farming up. They're buying space for that Orc Warden, which is still somewhat of a win. You really don't want to bleed out on the Ember though. And it does look like Moon is rushing for the Veil build. So they're looking for more magic damage to fly in. You should have to be a bit wary about that, as at some point Cuckoo will have that pipe. But if you can get that Veil at a faster time, you're going to amp up the damage here, especially from the Phoenix, and you might be able to find more kills that way.
But it's just going to be such a late Veil, though. Like, Moon's net worth right now sitting at 3.7k. He's behind Cuckoo on the Centaur. It's just not what you want, and now down to the bot lane, Zephyr, he'll get caught out by Whitemon. Does go down. Geek Fam, they're just gonna, well, excuse me, not Geek Fam, but Among Us are gonna keep increasing this net worth lead. Fnatic, I guess they have to sit back and just keep trying to protect Raven.
That is like a long-term ace up their sleeve, that the Arc Warden can make it hellish to push, can it make it hellish to try and trade, but they just need to build up. The issue is Raven's space is being locked in. Like, his jungle is constantly cleared out. He needs to take this much more unsafe farm in lane, although they catch Savage.
They want Savage, they'll swap him in. He has time walk, but he needs time. He'll get it off and he'll make a run for it, but another swap in. Savage won't have it in time now and will drop. And that's actually a mega kill streak going to Raven. He is very welcoming of that extra gold.
Yeah, it's a really solid pick off there for Raven. That's the one hero you want to find these kills on. Also gives them a little bit more space in that top jungle to farm, which is really what you want to see from Raven. He's not quite as far ahead as you'd expect on the Arc Warden. It's been a slower start. Savage is just about 100 gold behind him, so it's not exactly a fantastic sign, but you know, you can kind of build off of that here. Fnatic, I'd say every time they have this Arena Egg combo, they should smoke up. Like, they can really start to hunt down Among Us when they split up, but it's Among Us that always smoke up and always find something. You have to be aware of that movement here from the Radiant side.
Well, there's that smoke again. Down to the bot lane, they know Moon's there. He will Remnant. Bounty Rune's going to come up, smoke will be broken. They will spot out Moon with the blink. No, it's not going to be there, and the cookie will also be dodged by Moon. Will be able to walk away. Savage has the chrono, wants to go after Raven, but Raven is nowhere nearby. It is just the Tempest Stubble. And the rest of Among Us are just going to have to leave.
Yeah, it's not quite what they'd want. They really want to make use of that chrono, but they are building up in the farm. Fnatic is also recovering. Do want to point out Abed is rushing that Ags build, Mike, so we're going to have it. We're going to have the gobble up very, very soon. 2 parts away, about 1,700 gold. Once you've got that, you can easily get your initiation. Spit out Cuckoo. Very low committal, long range. If you are Fnatic, the only way to combat that is really vision, right? Like, you've got to have these forward wards to preempt the positioning of that snap. And it's difficult to do that because you have to protect these entrances as well in your jungle.
You do, but it is extremely important. Like, you've got to be able to cancel off those Mortimer's kisses. You've got to be able to just hold down Arbed and make sure he can't do anything on this hero. You don't necessarily have the best gap closing heroes, but you do have the Ember. You've got the Venge. They can cancel off those Mortimer's kisses, and once they are cancelled, suddenly your life becomes that much easier. So I do agree that those forward wards are going to be extremely important here for Fnatic. For now, though, they aren't concerned about that. They're just allowing Raven to continue farming, and he does have the Mjolnir coming up very, very soon. So Raven, still the top of the net worth board and still doing a great job on that Arc Warden. And I asked this question about Savage before, but now I'm thinking, are Among Us a bit afraid of how well Raven's farmed?
I'd say it's not quite a cause of concern just yet, although they have to be a bit careful with Savage.
He's been very hesitant with that Chrono Savage this game. Moon has been around for the Chrono quite a few times, but he does not want to throw it out.
Raven?
Among Us, they're going to move in. Hoofstomp is out onto Raven, but he'll be alright for now. He was swapped out by Zephyr. Your hammer not going to land from DJ, but there's your arena being dropped by Forever. He wants to start the team fight. Savage is going to jump in after him, and DJ going to get stunned up by Cuckoo, and now the Chrono comes out. They do have both of them. A nice swap, but it's going to mean nothing as they do still get the kill, and now they'll also get Forever and Zephyr. Nice patience there from Among Us, but it does pay off. Fnatic, they just seem to be lacking a game plan in these team fights.
I mean, they were just forced to retreat. Raven was caught out immediately. They just kind of tunnel vision for Raven first, forcing Fnatic to really be a bit scattered with their spell use. Like, the arena came down, but the egg didn't. And then DJ got caught in the Chrono when he wanted to pop the egg, so not quite lining it in. Really good of Among Us to abuse that gap, though. Still, Fnatic, they do get their highest net worth heroes out. You know, Raven gets to save himself at the cost of Tree. You're still building up in the Arc Warden, so it's not a terrible trade-off. It's really just, it's not great as well. Mind you, this is not good news for Fnatic, but it could have been so much worse. You do have the Ags now up, though. So Abed has this easy initiation with a Gobble up. Those forward wards we talked about, not quite there. It's still pretty defensive from Fnatic, and because that range is so ridiculous, you have to be cautious. Look at Fnatic's own wards. It's all really far forward into the enemy jungle, keeping track of the Rosh as well. It's going to be hard to find a way to abuse that, although they do smoke.
They do, and they're going to try and make a play here. They still have that egg. They want to try and get it on cooldown. They also have the arena coming up, but Forev is not going to be with them yet. He was waiting for his own Blink Dagger, which is being brought out on the Courier, and a Roshan started, so perhaps this is the perfect timing for Fnatic to try and take a fight if they realize it's happening, which it seems as though they don't. They have no idea.
No. Zephyr, he Wave of Terror into the ward spot instead of the pit.
Yes, gobble up, perfect from Abed into the avalanche toss. Oh, that is just very upsetting for Zephyr. But a beautiful play out from Abed and Jabs, and now they're going for more, but there's nobody in that tree line. I believe they were having a look for DJ, but he is going to run to the other side of the map. And well, Among Us, they are just going to take over this dire jungle.
It's exactly what they'd want. This forces Raven to constantly jump around. He had to preemptively TP. They were fortunate that the Chrono wasn't up, because Raven was right in front of low.
Getting caught. Savage going to jump straight in. And look at the damage Savage is pumping out right now. He has that MKB, but a nice spear into the arena. Forev still alive. Moon's going to come in, and they do get the Aegis. Forev now just trying to walk away as they are going to burst down Cuckoo, but there goes Raven. Cuckoo actually getting the kill onto Raven, but now Whitemore will drop on the Ogre. Savage still moving forward, has the Chrono. They drop Moon, and there's your Chrono coming out now. He just wants the easy kill onto DJ. And Among Us, it looked bad for a moment, but they still win out the team fight.
Yeah, it came at the cost of that Aegis. So Fnatic, they are showing some pretty good teamfight potential if they can land these spells. The issue is, that wasn't the ideal circumstance. With the Aegis in, the execution of the egg arena was a lot better though. And it is lining up, but the damage is falling a bit flat. You need more farm and Raven. You need to really start to get Moon at the point where he can just stand and fight with his spells. He is rushing that BKB on the Ember, but you're also looking at BKB timings here for Among Us starting to kick in. Like, Savage is 2 parts off, has enough for the Mithril Hammer, so he only lacks that recipe. And the only reason you caught Savage was the spear in the arena. BKB is going to cancel that off, so there are some things not quite lining up for Fnatic, but they can still get that work done. Among Us, though, they're playing really well too. You know, you see the initiations being thrown out by Abed, the gobble ups, he's tossing in He's tossing in Whitemon, he's tossing in jabs at every opportunity, and the damage, the initiation you have on hand here, it is quite a fair bit more than Fnatic, so that's something Fnatic has to be really cautious about when they do decide to commit.
Here we go. They're going to run into Whitemon, but they'll run the other way. Not the target they want to go for first. They need to find a priority target. For now, Fnatic, they'll wait for a better time. Like, they'll focus in on just pushing out that bot wave, and, well, Among Us are basically doing the same thing there with Savage. Among Us. Abed got a nice arcane rune for himself, and they'll go for a quick smoker. They seem to know exactly where Fnatic are, and that's because they are under vision right now. So they want to go for a team fight, however... That was Moon. Just breaking the smoke there and remnering back out, and now Cuckoo going to jump in, but he's jumped in by himself. The TP's going to come out, but it's too late. Abed, he's got the gobble up. Brings Whitemon back out. Whitemon now going to be chased down. Fnatic going to be thanking their lucky stars that Cuckoo decided to give him a free kill. There'll be another one.
Yeah, I think a big part of that was Moon breaking up that smoke himself. So really nice play. He was just checking for the rune. Instead, he breaks up that big rotation. You do trade tier 2s in the end. You are better off as Fnatic with those 2 pickups you got. So that does put a little bit of an edge down, but...
Be careful here. They've got the chrono. Gobble Up is on target, and Savage is going to jump in with the avalanche toss out. They don't need the chrono, and Savage will tip him.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so sick. That range. That range is just insane. It's so low committal. They toss that first, so Savage doesn't even need chrono. You know, he just pops the mob.
It's proving to be a very, very strong Aghanim scepter, that's for sure. So I don't know if we're ever going to see mid Snapfire as a usual kind of deal, but I could definitely see Pons 4 Snapfire rushing Ags on a regular basis for sure.
Yeah, it's so much utility. It's really good in the late. Keeps her scaling up as well. They're trying to hunt still.
Yeah, Cuckoo. Gonna chase Zephyr down. Waiting for that next blink. Raven is also going to be around, and he'll bring out the Tempest Double. The Flux out. That'll force a Stampede, but Forev does get the arena in time. Here comes Jabs and Whitemon with the Fire Blast, trying to buy Cuckoo time, and Jabs with a nice toss out does save the day, but Forev is going to go down, and now Among Us are going to turn back around, trying to find more. There will be nobody left, however. It was just Forev.
Yeah, it's not the best for Fnatic. They were trying to force an opening up. They did get punished. You did see Raven sticking around as well, but he did manage to bail out, which is fortunate because Chrono is ready for Savage. So they're looking for a chance now here in Among Us to use that Chrono with the BKB on a fresh 10-second charge. It should be easier for Savage to fully commit in the front or even play on the edge, right? Because he has been a lot more conservative with the Chrono. With a BKB, you don't necessarily need the Chrono anymore. You can just kind of stand and fight as long as the bashes fly in.
Still a 7k lead here for Among Us. Dota Plus, that's actually the win probability that I brought up. It's 83% already for Among Us, so things looking very, very good for him. Still so much room to grow for Raven on this Arc Warden. So you would have hoped it was a bit faster worth of farm, but he has been involved in a few fights recently, and it has meant he hasn't been able to get some decent farm in, which has allowed 23 Savage to really take over now. That Gobble Up down in the bot lane. Moon gonna dodge it with a Sleight of Fist. And Moon is on very, very high alert this game. He knows he has a target on his back.
Oh yeah, he's just being spotted out. Now, the one thing there, I couldn't tell if that was a actual dodge or if he was just farming the creep wave. So I can't be 100% if that was an actual play he made. But hey, you're not going to ask the question if you mean you're going to be happy. They do trade a tier 2 for a tier 1 top, which is not an amazing trade, but it's what you'll take as Among Us. Again, they're sitting on that chrono mic. They're waiting for an opportunity. If they don't find that opportunity, they go for objectives.
Why not? Very easy to take these objectives when you do have the Bloodlust and Mask of Madness, as well as the MKB on Savage. Got a lot of attack speed on this Void right now. And they might even just force the tier 3 tower. They must be feeling confident. Please get a glyph out here. Nope, not going to be it. They just get a bit of damage and that'll be enough. It is still 26 minutes in. No need to rush. I mean, Savage is very close to getting that Eye of Skadi up soon as well, so he may just want to save up for that first.
Yeah, it's just really efficient plays here now. Just clearing out for the tier 3s with his pullback, so they're going to have the opportunity to jump back if they want. Now, Fnatic does clear out the top tier 2, so you can see that split push coming out from Raven really starting to kick into gear. He's got his Hurricane Pike now as well for some form of defense. That should cause Among Us to be a bit more careful with how they commit these team fights, but I think if you're Fnatic right now, you look at Raven's farm, it's not the fastest as you mentioned, but you're still doing great. You know, he's only died once, he hasn't been punished. They haven't really been hunting that Arc Warden this game, and you finally get that BKB in Moon, so he can stand and fight. They smoke up, they want to reveal that BKB on Moon in a big way.
And they do. See if they can get a good team fight going. It's going to be tough. They are pretty behind in net worth, but they're going to run into Cuckoo, who will break the smoke and blink away. And they did not spot him out. And if you're Among Us now, you might be willing to just turn around and smoke yourself. Because even Arbit has his BKB up on the Snapfire. See if they do join up and get to it. They also have that Chrono, but Savage might just wait to finish off that Skadi. He does only have about 700 gold left for it. Fnatic, they're still waiting to try and go for the fight, but they are going to take the tier 1 mid tower, and that'll be enough. They'll back off.
I'd say you're actually in a pretty good spot here as Fnatic. You're not too far behind in objectives, so there's only one outer tower left for Among Us compared to your nil, but you know, 1 versus 0 is not a big gap. So the Arc Warden can start to shine here. It's all about shoving into the tier 3s, forcing a response now. And that's the game plan coming out for Raven. And with the farm he has, again, not amazing, but it's enough to get that work done. Still, smoke play now from Among Us.
He was just 400 gold off that Eye of Skadi. He just doesn't bother going for it yet. Moon, oh, Avalanche Toss going to be there in time, and he's trying to Remnant. He does get out in time. For Rev, he's got a 4-man arena. Can they get the damage out? There's your egg being used. Raven, he does kill off jabs. Zephyr does go down as well, but they can't kill the egg. The magnetic field was going to save it, but now Cuckoo with the Stampede going to rush in, and they do get for Rev. So a 2 for 1. Among Us coming out on top. There is no Roshan yet for them to take, but they can wait 20 seconds or so for it to respawn up.
Yeah, they're still going to have control over that area first. They're also going to have the Chrono, because Savage is so conservative with it. It is still up. They might have to be careful.
Cuckoo trying to get him down. He's just going to TP right in front of them.
No way.
Yeah, they had no way to cancel the TP. Bit unfortunate.
Yeah, that's a bit of a blunder. Would have been nice to get that. That would have forced Among Us to think twice about a rush. But, you know, they've got control here. They've got the vision down. They do go in.
Yeah, into the Roshan. Roshan's going to go pretty fast here with all this void damage. Gobble up. Cuckoo going to go onto DJ. Arbet on point again, and that might just be DJ dead. They perma-stun him up, and he gets a shotgun blast to the face. And with that Aegis now, might be time to go high ground. They'll get the Tempest double. The best Fnatic can do is they'll split push that bot lane. Moon will buy a bit more time, and Among Us should be back to defend this one.
Yeah, and it's a massive wave. We're going to have to clear it out, and that's one of Fnatic's strengths. You've got the Ember. Savage is kind of pumping that Chrono.
Bit of a pump fake. Moon's going to stick around in that bot. No, he's going to TP out.
Yep.
So they do force Savage back.
Yeah, that's what they can do. Split push is the name of the game with this kind of lineup. They do go hunting. Just a bit.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to catch anyone, though. The catch is quite limited at the moment for Fnatic. I think you are quite reliant on Forev or Moon to be able to just catch out those heroes you want to gank up. And they've just been a bit too far behind to really make those plays happen. And,
Yeah,
well, Among Us, they can still just rule the map.
Yeah, and they've got control of the triangle now. There are some better defensive wards from Fnatic. They do have at least one watching the entrance of their top jungle a bit more. But that is it so far. So that's the only piece of vision they've got. And there is an opposite ward for Among Us to keep that safe. They're going to try to keep sieging up. They hold that Aegis. They still have a Chrono. They can afford to take this risk.
Savage will give it a shot. Brev is waiting in the shadows. Savage. Not going to back off, but there's your glyph. And they are still going to stick around. Forev tried for the spear back, but he's going to get punished for it by the Fire Blast. He'll be swapped out by Zephyr. Zephyr needs a way out of this. They'll use the arena, but Savage gets the BKB off in time. Still willing to fight back. He has the Chrono. He will go after the Tempest double, but does lose the Aegis. Now they pop the egg. They want to try and kill off this Void right here, right now, but Jabs, he gets a toss out again. Oh, Jabs saving the day. He does go down, and Raven actually gets a double kill. Cuckoo's going to jump in. Now Abed trying to go after Forev. Forev in the back lines, but Cuckoo has lost his life now. Fnatic are able to fight back. Forev just sneaking behind them, holding the back lines, allowing Raven to do his job. They do actually win out the team fight and defend high ground.
That's a massive win for the side of Fnatic, just getting a lot for nothing. They take away the Aegis as well. The positioning of Fnatic in the defense is shaping up really nicely. You're forcing Savage to think twice about dropping Chrono. He's just never comfy, and you're at the point where this Tempest double can even do some really good solo damage to that Face's Void. So really great signs for Fnatic. They're not quite out of the trenches yet, but it's shaping up to be really nice. Right? They're getting the EXP up. You still don't have max level egg on DJ. Like, that's going to be another nice power spike here for Fnatic. And even Zephyr, right? Level 3 ult is a long way off, but once you have that longer range swap, you can start thinking about offensive swaps onto Savage, and that makes it harder for Among Us to pierce that high ground. It's becoming a bit of an issue. You also have
Raven's getting to that point. Like, he's so farmed on this Arc Warden now. I have Skadi about to come up, and it is getting very, very difficult to deal with this Arc Warden. We've seen this many times before, but the later the game goes on, the more scaling happens for the Arc. Jabs is going to keep eyes. Raven does juke out the Gobble Up, but Jabs is on his tail with the Avalanche Toss, and now Abed does have the cookie with the Scatter Blast. Raven, he's going to try and force stuff, but the Tree Throw going to be there from Jabs. They do get a massive pick-off for the side of Among Us.
Yeah, that's the one kill they want. They do manage to trade away their Ogre for that, but without the Arc Warden, without buyback on the Arc Warden, it actually really does open a chance on the high ground if they wanted to. Still a risk without Aegis, but you don't have to worry about the bubble protection on the egg and on the buildings. So if that was stopping you from the push, it's not going to be there for at least a minute. But it does look like Among Us might just be playing it a bit more safe. They don't have Aegis, so a bit of a risk, but they have the Satanic up in Savage, so maybe it's go time.
Get the T3 tower onto the racks. Gonna have to wait 35 seconds to have Raven back up. Mid lane, Cuckoo gonna get started with a Hoof Stomp and a Gobble Up, and Jabs is in with the cookie from Abed. It is gonna be Forev going down perhaps. He'll try to survive this one. Still running away. Abed is gonna be on the chase, but Forev with the spider legs now. Can he juke him out? No. Abed able to get the kill. Forev does have buyback, however.
They're probably going to have to expend it, and the Arc Warden might be able to slow it with a bubble, but they're going to lose the tier 3 regardless, and they still have Chrono Among Us. Like, again, they've been so conservative. You have to be worried about that team fight spell coming out.
We've got the Ags up on Moon now, so they might be able to take a fight, but no. Looks like the side of Among Us, they're going to back off, smoke up, and try to reinitiate with this Chrono.
Ooh.
Spark Wraith not going to be there in time. They'll sneak around it. Oh, this is real sneaky here from the side of Among Us. They're going to jump in onto Moon. That's the target they want. The Goblin's going to be there, and Moon does get swapped out, but the Chrono is going to be in from Savage, and he is on top of the egg now. Magnetic Field, not going to be able to save it. Back onto another. They'll kill off Zephyr. Arena, however, from Forev, not going to be there as the BKB is out from Savage. And John, that's really unfortunate for Fnatic because Moon, he just bought the Ags. So he has no buyback gold.
It's going to be a difficult defense. Now, you do have Raven. You can play with a bubble. You can play with that magnetic field, but you're at a very scary spot. No arena, no egg, no team fight without the Ember. You're probably just going to have to deal with mega creeps here.
Yeah, looks like there's no choice in the matter. They're going to try and delay things just a bit. That'll be your top racks going down slowly. The bottom racks all gone as well. So is the mid, but Forev going to jump in with a nice spear off onto Savage. Can they get the damage? No. There's going to be not enough, and Whitemon with the gobble up going straight into the back lines, buying space for Savage to take down Forev on that Mars, and that is Arbed on a godlike streak now. Speaking of Arbed, he's got an MKB and level 25, but Moon is going to jump in. Cookie out onto Savage, but he's going to time walk away with the BKB. He'll TP, but there's a swamp out from Zephyr. Savage now, a man on the run, will time walk, but that is the wrong way. Zephyr got the swap up in time, and they are going to be able to kill off the Void. But they have got Megas.
Yeah, it's, I mean, they can hold against Megas pretty nicely. That's one thing the Arc Warden does give you. Even your Mars can wave clear pretty nice. Ember, of course, can do that well. Now it's time to see how patient you can get here, Fnatic. They can try to stall this out as much as they can. Among Us at some point will become very Savage-centric, because that's the nature of a Void Draft. It becomes all about the Chrono. For Fnatic, it's already that case. It's all about Raven and Moon to a certain extent. And you can see Raven Mike, he's queuing up that Divine. They know they need the damage.
Yep.
They know it needs to come out fast. We'll see if they can stall the game long enough for that item to come out.
Don't forget though, we do have 25 Snapfire with MKB up.
Oh yeah.
So you've got the triple little shredder shots flying out with MKB. So he can get a lot of damage, and well, Raven, of course, with that Divine Rapier will also be able to dish out a lot of damage, but he does have to farm it up first. He still has a very long way to go for it as well. So it is going to take minimum a few minutes, and he's going to need the space to farm it up. They'll get it started. They'll try. See if he can make it in time. What's Soda Plus saying? Still giving 2% to Fnatic. In fact, 4% now. So it's still, there's still a chance here for Fnatic. The game is not over.
No, it's definitely not. It's just it takes a lot more to go.
Arena, they've caught out one. Who's it going to be? It is Whitemon. Cuckoo trying to BKB up with the Stampede, still running. And Savage for that Chrono. He might be in a spot of danger here. He needs to try and fight back. He doesn't want to use that Chrono on the Tempest Snubble. He'll be fine. Back onto Zephyr, who will get tossed back, and Arbed will just destroy him. Does have the Crystallis up now as well, Arbed, going into the Daedalus build.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's getting scary. Raven, can he TP out in time? Savage will not spot him out, but they have a Roshan to get to.
Yeah, and this is a nice one. Comes with the Aghanims now as well, and once more, Fnatic just do not have wards around this area. Every single time, every single Roche, they've never had the information, so it's another free one for Among Us. Aegis Cheese and that Aegis upgrade. Gonna be a big one, because the Ags on Cuckoo means you're so much more durable. The Stampede is going to be so much more troublesome for Fnatic, and they've got to find a way to keep stalling. And they're holding on to their high ground. Their tier 4s are still looking relatively healthy. Just accelerate the farm and Raven. It's all about the Arc Warden now. There's just no two ways about it. It has to be the Raven show.
It has to. Raven, of course, with these Tempest doubles, can do some pretty nice work in pushing out the waves very effectively. He still hasn't had enough time to have the Divine Rapier up. In fact, he hasn't even got enough for the Sacred Relic yet. Just 100 gold off that. Among Us surely understand that's probably what Raven's going to go for now, because they are up against Megas. So it's a matter of when they feel comfortable to start making the push in, but they are going to just farm up those tier 4 items for now. In fact, Savage will take a Witless Shaco for himself, so he's just casually sitting at 4.6k HP on the Void. It's going to be a difficult task to get through that much HP on Savage. See how they get that done. Meanwhile, Abed's almost got that Daedalus.
Ooh, it's going to be a sweet point. He's just farming well, like he is. In fact, the entire farm from Among Us has been really even, you know. Not one here really pulling too far ahead, although Savage is way far ahead, but you know, it's still around 2k between each hero. That's a good time. Leads to really even power spikes. Fnatic, they're just stalling now. Moon, we haven't really seen the Ags come into such big play, but they are smoked up. They want to try to stall with one fight.
Could be dangerous. I mean, you've constantly got the creep waves pushing in. Raven will sit back and take care of it with himself and the Tempest Double. What is the game plan, though? What are they going to do with the smoke? There's a Bloodthorn now up on Savage, so his damage just went even higher. They'll see the Tempest Double, and Savage will jump in and take care of it. Tier 4 towers are exposed. They could just force that, but Moon goes for a chains, and Savage will use the Bloodthorn on the Ember. Gobble up. He's just going to fly out, but Jabs is... They're going to be there on Moon. They do get the Ember kill. Now the Mortimer's Kiss is to fly in. Cuckoo, he'll be there with the hoof stomp onto Forever, and Savage will be there with the damage, but Zephyr gets a swap off. Raven now ready to try and fight this one out. They take down the Venge. Abed trying to run away, but there's your egg being committed with the Chrono. Savage will get the egg first, and then we'll get Forever on the Mars, and they will call GG. And that'll be a very convincing game number 1 for the side of Among Us. In fact, they'll just dive the fountain, and yeah, game 1. That's a convincing victory.
That it is. I think that if there was a message being sent there, it surely is received. Fnatic a bit dicey. They had a Raven Arc Warden in play. He did have the Divine at the end. It didn't make a difference in the last fight. There's some issues to sort out. I think, again, we're looking at a momentum issue down mid. Now, the matchup was probably not something Moon is used to, but now they have to expect it. It's just that kind of lane. Abed is not a farming mid. He is going to be a lot more active. Moon needs to match that pace and needs to make it difficult for Abed to get that early momentum. We'll see what they do in game 2 here, but Among Us, I mean, they're still undefeated, Mike.
We'll find out very soon. It's MLP Dota and JohnXFire. We'll be back in 10 minutes for our next game.